Hi there, everyone. Namaste. I am Jill Loftus of Nuit Astrology. Welcome to your planetary energy forecast for the week of October 31st, 2022. So, blessed Halloween, happy Samhain, Dia de los Muertos. Definitely, this is an interesting week to be celebrating those who have passed the death of summer, the new season, right? There is a load of Scorpio energy happening. And we're right on the heels. Mars just went retrograde in the sign of Gemini. It's still kind of widely in that clash with Neptune, so clarity is going to be hard to come by. All right. And we're still managing that square between Uranus in the sign of Taurus and Saturn in the sign of Aquarius, which again, we're used to this information, but it's shaking things, right? Saturn really is that earthquake that tests the integrity. And Uranus is the lightning bolt that quickly changes the circumstances, right? So stay nimble, adaptable, but keep in mind that there's going to be some reality checks this week. And I want you to try to comb through the chaos and see it as clearly as you can. All right. So we start off the week. We've got a Capricorn moon. It's going to touch Pluto. So anytime the moon is in contact with Pluto, there could be power struggles, issues, these last couple of weeks leading up to now, Pluto's been very active, squaring the sun, squaring Venus, really creating some conflict there. So look for those kind of deeper, darker themes and things that are coming up. Always be grateful to know the reality of something, right? But it might not be something pleasant to see. It's going to be squaring over to the Mercury in Scorpio once it enters into Aquarius on that evening. And so there could be really a real clash between head and heart on Monday. Now, then the moon is going to come on November 1st. It's going to touch Saturn, right? Always a little bit of a heavy day, a little bit emotionally tense. And it's going to square the nodes. It's going to square the sun. It's going to square Venus and Uranus in Taurus. Okay, so that's not the most pleasant start to the day or start to the week. I guess it's not the start, it's Tuesday. But still, it's just going to be a little bit tense emotions, very emotional. And there will be a lot of conversations around the groups and collective and community and things like that, and how things are not working in the best possible way. Then we come into November 2nd and 3rd. Venus is going to be in Scorpio, and she's going to touch the South Node, right, in Scorpio. Now keep in mind that Venus in Scorpio, it's not her favorite place to hang, right? And that South Node brings decrease. So very possible some difficult bumps in the market, some issues with resources, with money, with, something that's beautiful being made less than, right? So be a little more aware of that. Be a little more careful about any purchases, contractual obligations, anything that you would get into. I would be very cautious about that. It's across from the North Node. So, and it's also, being across from the North Node, it's not that far away from the opposition that it's going to make later in the week to Uranus, which is also in Taurus, right? All right. Now, take a little pause here. All right. Now I do like on the 3rd, we have some nice energy flowing from the moon in Pisces. So the moon in Pisces is definitely a beautiful placement, right? Lots of intuition and feels. It's going to send a beautiful beam over to the Mercury and Sun and Venus, which are all clustered in Scorpio. And it's going to send a nice little sextile over to Uranus as well. So this is like an intuitive day on the 3rd, like really tap in and be like, wait, what's going on here? You really might be able to feel that water energy inspiring you in some way. On the 4th, the moon is going to come together with Neptune in Pisces. And then it's going to square over to the Mars in Gemini. So that Mars in Gemini is over there just getting all up in everybody's business, right? So just, try to let go of people who are just prattling on and not actually doing anything, okay? Try to move past those people. It's going to send a nice sextile to Pluto and Capricorn and then touch Jupiter. Remember, Jupiter's moving backwards. So the moon is moving forward in Pisces before it moves into Aries. Now, keep in mind that the Sun and Mercury stay together in Scorpio until November 15th. So they're going to be traveling tight together. And there's two different technical terms used for that. When the Sun gets within 3 degrees of a Mercury, Mercury gets in 3 degrees, within 3 degrees of the Sun, it's called combust. It's kind of like the Sun blots out the energy of Mercury. And it's interesting because especially if you look at it in a birth chart, a lot of times it makes it so the person really has trouble communicating or expressing themselves. But then when it gets precisely conjunct, it's called cazimi. It's called being in the heart of the Sun, and it's supposed to like empower it. So it's almost like it weakens, and receives this like huge infusion. And then, of course, when the aspect is separating, when it's moving away, even if it's just as close, it's not as strong, right? Applying energy is stronger than the separating energy. And I often think it's just that because at least now you know what you're dealing with, right? Okay, so keep that in mind about that Sun and Mercury. Now on the 5th, we have that exact opposition of Venus over there in Scorpio across from Uranus and Taurus. And remember, everything else is there too. We've got Mercury, Sun, South Node, Venus, all across the sky from the North Node and Uranus. And that vibe is just going to be kind of working with us all week. Now, again, I love the oppositions, right? Because there's this push-pull. And if you can find this nice equal tension, if you can really merge the energies. And what I love to do is I like to think, if I'm having problems in my Taurus area of life, I go across the sky to Scorpio, right? If I'm having trouble with resources, money, pleasure, I go across the sky and I collaborate with somebody else. I find a better way. I go deeper. I get more information. I get in there like Scorpio, right? I'm having trouble with Scorpio energy, dealing with people, behind the scenes, messing with my vibe. I feel like I'm stuck in an uncomfortable place. I'm understanding uncomfortable truths. I go across the sky. I go to Taurus. I go out in nature. I really think about, what do I really want? Okay, what do I really desire? What do I want, right? That's desire nature is Scorpio. That merges with the whole idea of I have in Taurus, right? So what do I have to manage what I desire? So I hope that's useful and helpful. On that same day, on the 5th, this is such a sketchy McSketch weekend, right? On the 5th, Chiron is also going to be touching the moon. So the moon in Aries touching Chiron. So maybe some potential painful things coming up. And then the Saturn in Aquarius is going to begin to square that Venus in Scorpio. It's going to be in the 2-degree range all weekend. It's exact on Monday, but you're going to be feeling it. She's like getting pulled on by that Uranus, and then now she's getting squared by Saturn. She's kind of like stepping into the line of fire between those two in some way, right? So again, it's a rough week for the divine feminine, but it's also going to be, try not to get all worked up with all the issues with resources and things like that. Slow down, stabilize, secure your world. The Clarissa Pinkola Estes quote, reach out and mend the part of the world you can reach. Take responsibility for the parts of the world that are your responsibility, all right? And that doesn't mean don't help people, but like if we all take care of our own stuff, then, then when one of us really can't, then people are close by who have it together, right, to help them, right? Right. All right, and on November 6th, we've got Black Moon Lilith right across the sky from Pluto. This is with the Saturn, squaring both over to Venus and Uranus, right? So that whole configuration. The moon, the Aries moon, which is going to square over to Pluto on that day. And Venus still has that opposition with Uranus. And that is the launch into what I expect to be a pretty tense week of election week in the United States. So if you are watching this and you can vote early, do it. All right, mail-in ballot or go. Here I live in Southwestern Virginia. I was able to drive to an office and just, go ahead and vote. I got it taken care of last week. It's taken care of, right? It's going to be a really difficult day, a difficult week. So be careful, be wise. All right, let's check out the tarot and see what it suggests for us to high vibe this week. If this was useful and helpful, please like, share, subscribe, comment. That always helps the channel to grow so I can provide this free comment. comment content. And also, quick note, check out my website. I've got a free tarot course for you there if you sign up for my monthly new moon newsletter. And I also have memberships available. All the information is online. So let's check out the tarot. Hi there, everybody. So here's the Lotus Tarot spread for the week of October 31st, 2022. Got our two different potential outcomes, two different ways to handle the energy. I'm like getting conflicting messages here. Let me tap in. Okay. All right. All right, so we begin with our first card, the basic influence. So what's been going on? And this is the Three of Wands. It shows that we've made some progress. This is very positive. All right, we're moving in the right direction. All right. And what's going on with you? Well, you're really trying to score a happy life, right? A life of abundance, a place to live where you feel successful and cared for and relieved to be there. So you're trying to come home in some way. All right. And the environment, Chariot, you're stagnating somehow. You're not carrying through. You're not pushing forward. You're not moving on. You have it all. It's all dressed up and nowhere to go. What are you waiting for? All right. Beginning of the culmination of the influences, we've got the Emperor. We're large. We're in charge. We're making decisions. This is our empire. Our life is our empire. What do we want? So very interesting cards. All right, the key of the future, the sun. All right, we need some place where we can shine, where we can shine our light, our personal light. We need a life where we can be who we are totally accepted, loved, able to express our goodness in the world. Now, the opposing forces in play with this is self-limitation, Eight of Swords. Like you think you can't, right? So this is just mental, just mental limitation, all right? And the other side, Four of Pentacles. Conservative, being like withdrawing information, like really not sharing your dreams or aspirations, or like really allowing yourself to open up to those possibilities. I'm going to be intrigued to see what modifies this, okay? So the future, near future, we've got the High Priestess. Woo! This is fabulous. This is spiritual abundance. This is abundance in general. She is the divine feminine, right? It was such an interesting card to get when the goddess is going through it this week. All right. And then the modifiers. We've got the Nine of Cups. Reasons to celebrate. Abundance. And on the other side, we have Ace of Cups. Emotional fulfillment. Very interesting. Paired with the Nine of Cups, we have the Happy Family card. So wow, whatever we're going through, these changes are really beneficial and positive. With the Ace of Cups, we have the Strength card, right? This is a very Leo energy card. This is a card of feminine strength and power, taming the lion through compassion, love, wisdom, and receptivity. All right, wow. So both these outcomes are looking really great. Let's look at our progressions and solutions. First up, we've got the moon. So there's stuff going on that we're not aware of. There's a lot of emotionality here. I mean, there's a lot of water represented here. So lots of feelings. You may not have all the information. Tap into your intuition. Okay, this is the side that started out with this, this limited young woman, the Eight of Swords, right? She was limiting herself. It's saying, no, become the High Priestess, right? And the High Priestess is the card that comes before the Emperor, okay? The Emperor is number 4. The High Priestess comes first, and then we have the Empress, and then we have the Emperor. All right, so we've got this abundance. We've got this beautiful home life and really that comes from this desire of the Ten of Cups, right? And then on the other side, we've got the Ace and the Strength card. So now we've got the Moon. And then over here, we have the Five of Swords. I believe we got this last week as well. You got to really watch that you're not just so eyes on the prize that you're missing the possible consequences of something or of a choice. And then we've got over here with the moon, Page of Cups, emotional abundance, right? Tap into that. Both of these spreads are really saying go for what fills you up emotionally. And then we've got the Nine of Swords, the worry card. And I think this has, you know, it's funny. This is really interesting because this is the progression, right, on this side of holding back, right? These are both cards that indicate limiting yourself, right, in some way. All right. But this is, you know, this way, if you're moving in this direction, maybe you're so caught up in that kind of emotional fulfillment, but also in like really getting what you want, right? You're so hung up on getting what you want the way you want it that you end up limiting yourself in some way. All right. So instead, you let go of worry. All right. And be a little bit more collaborative, right? Don't hold back, okay? Don't hold back. Go for it because there's stuff going on here that's really, really positive. It's definitely, I say, a week to tap into intuition for sure. And to, you know, with the High Priestess here, ritualize it. Do something to really ritualize, like November 1st, you know, All Saints Day or Dia de los Muertos, so however you look at it. Ritualize Samhain, October 31st. Really tap in to that energy of the divine feminine and how you're a part of that. You know, whether you're a man or a woman, you're part of the divine feminine, right? And really, you know, to end up with the more positive outcome, you've got to get past your own limiting thoughts, right? All right. Well, I hope that was useful and helpful. Have a great week. I'll see you next time.